Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. I figured I would regale you with my story of my day in America yesterday. As many of you know, I am in the excited states of America, as I like to call it, quite often, sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes once every couple weeks. But bottom line is, I am down in the US of A quite regularly, across that border, hundreds, maybe thousands of times. And most trips are just completely uneventful and, you know, no big deal, just like you Americans. Most of your days are just normal, regular, easy peasy. But yesterday was kind of interesting for a bunch of things that happened. So I figured I would share the story with you. I was going to go visit a friend of mine, a colleague that I used to work with. He lives in Linden. And most of the time when I stop by his place, because he's only like 5 minutes from the border, I usually wind up drinking his liquor because he's a very generous guy. And so I figured, hey, I'll drop off a bottle of something because I can't bring the booze back across the border unless I'm gone 48 hours. I'd have to pay duty and taxes. So I went down to the Safeway, picked up a bottle, and dropped it off. And that was that. As I'm getting into my car in his driveway, I feel a big pinch right here in my lower backside, but kind of in my mid-torso. And I go, wow, that feels like a hornet or a wasp bite, because I know what that's like. So I reach, and I could feel the actual wasp. Knocked him out, and he flew off. But yeah, I got a big welt. So my first concern was, oh boy, I hope I'm not going to have a reaction, because sometimes, you know, it happens. But so I figured I better monitor myself, because if I have a reaction, I better get back to the border and have that ambulance waiting. But everything was cool. I still have the red mark. You know, this is just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So, you know, not much time has elapsed. But I figured, you know, I'm a big boy. It's happened before. These wasps and the hornets, they tend to act very crazy in September and October as their food supply dwindles and it gets colder. Oh well. So I continue through the beautiful town of Linden, which actually, if you guys have ever been to Linden, probably one of the nicest, cleanest border towns. Border towns typically are not always very nice or clean. You know, maybe Niagara Falls, but that's kind of a tourist destination. It's a different class of city. But, you know, I've seen a lot of border towns, Mexico, Canada. Some of them aren't very pretty, but Linden is. So I figured I'd share some footage of what Linden looks like. It's a beautiful little place. Cheaper to live than Seattle. Same weather as Seattle, too. Anywho, so I went down to Bellingham. That's kind of the big hub. Was looking for some camera gear. Checked out a bunch of pawn shops. Couldn't find anything that I was looking for, so I headed to Bellis Fair, which is the big mall. On my way there, I did stop at Fred Meyer. Everybody that's Pacific Northwest, they know about Freddy's, Fred Meyer's. As I'm pulling into Freddy's, some Karen who does not have the right of way, actually has a stop sign, nearly T-bones me in my Mazda. Meanwhile, she's honking and yelling. Comes within about 2 feet of smucking me. So I stop, of course, and I start yelling back at her because she's yelling at me. And then I go, hey, you were at fault. I had the right of way. What are you talking about? You know? So she actually kind of backed her up and started apologizing to me, but her first instinct was full 100% Karen. Now, I know this is not an American phenomenon. We do have Karens in Canada. The only difference I would say is that the US of A has 13 times the population, so I probably got 13 times the possibility of running into a Karen. Was she a white chick? Yes, she was. Did she look like a Karen? Yes, she did. Was she in a hurry like a Karen, like her life was more important than mine? Yes, it was. So I definitely ran into a Karen, and that was something. You know, it's like a wonderful story that I can share with you. Now, I'm not picking on Yankee Doodles. You know, there's a lot of great American women I personally know, and a lot of great people. I know most Americans aren't Karens, so don't put words into my mouth. But I'm just saying, I finally, after many, many years, spending many months and years of my life in the United States of America, I finally ran into a bona fide Karen, and she almost T-boned me and rode off the car. But I got lucky. So off I continued to Bellis Fair Mall. It's but a mall. It's maybe close to 1 million square feet, but you can tell retail is really hurt in Bellingham at the Bellis Fair Mall. A lot of the stores are closed. But I did wander through Target, and boy, these shelves are all, disheveled. Target hasn't changed much. But I was looking for a nice fall jacket. And I figured, hey, you know what? I almost never go to JCPenney. So I figured I will go to JCPenney, see what they got. And boy, did I find a nice fall jacket. Not too light, not too heavy. Very nice. I think it looks quite nice. So I check it out, and it's 125 Yankee Doodle dollars. And the lady goes, yeah, it's going to be on sale next week. 30% off. And I'm like, I don't feel like driving all the way back just for a damn jacket. Oh, pardon me about the construction noise that's going on hither and fro over there. Pardon me. So the lady goes, hey, we can take 35% off this jacket if you apply for a JCPenney card. And I'm like, well, I don't need a JCPenney card. I got plenty of Canadian credit cards. Don't need that. Plus, I can pay by debit or cash. I had several $100s with me. I had no problem. But I definitely didn't want to pay full retail. That's all I was concerned about. As Canadians, we're kind of cheapskates for paying full retail. So she says, just fill out an application. If you're approved, you get 35% off. If you're not approved, it's 25%. And I said, well, okay, that's a win-win. Don't need the JCPenney card. I don't know who actually does need a JCPenney card. That's another story. But I said, hey, here's the deal. I'm not an American. I don't have an American address. I don't have a social security number. I have a social insurance number. I have no credit profile in the US of A. I am not a resident. I am not a citizen, blah, blah, blah. I said, the credit files I know for a fact are not integrated. Each country has different credit profiles. And because of the laws of each land and province have different rules, so they can't share information because they'll run afoul. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for people who actually change countries and move. They generally have to start with a new credit profile and build it up. But I guess there's enough ghost information about me in the US of A over the, years I've spent there on and off, a few days here, a few weeks there. Over my life, it's probably at least 3 years I've probably spent in the United States. So I figured, okay, yeah, apparently I need a credit score of a minimum 640, which in Canada, that's not a great credit score, but apparently I've learned something about the US of A. Credit is very liberally granted, not like in Canada. So I literally give the lady my British Columbia driver's license. I punch in my social insurance number, which is the equivalent of a social security number. A couple more things, I think my birth date. She verifies my ID, of course, because, otherwise it would be fraud. They don't just take your word on who you are. So she immediately types this in, and within seconds, seconds, like I'm standing there for 15 seconds, typing a few things. Boom, she goes, yeah, you're approved. Yeah, you'll get your JCPenney card in the mail. I'm like, what? I was expecting to be declined because no credit is sometimes even worse than bad credit. So she says, here's your temporary number. We'll ring this up on your account. We'll take 35% off. I said, thank you very much. So I saved 35% on the jacket. And it begs the question of why is credit being granted to foreigners? It doesn't make sense. It's rare that Canadians do it. You try and come on up to Canada. Any of you Yankee Doodles, you American citizens, residents, you come up to Canada and try to get a credit card of any kind up here. Unless you've lived here before or you're a legal resident or a citizen, good luck on that. 99% of you will be declined. I'm sure if I did the same thing at a department store in London, England, same thing would happen. Declined, which makes sense. Now, what I'm thinking, you correct me if I'm wrong. I got a couple questions for you Americans, because you guys know more about American credit. I know a lot about Canadian credit and how that works, but I have a few concerns, observations, and questions. First of all, Why are they doing this? I'm thinking that they've run out of credit-worthy people in the US of A, and they realize, wow, most Canadians have a pretty decent credit profile. Let's take a chance. What's the worst that'll happen? Most will pay their bill anyway. Even though here's the kicker. If you go down to the United States and run up a bill, it's a civil matter. It's not a crime, it's a civil matter. It'll give you stinko credit on your US credit profile, but they can't do anything about it. They can't sue you, they can't whatever. Even judgments, they're worthless. They can't, very difficult to enforce up here, especially for small amounts. Because we're just talking consumer accounts. We're not talking, a credit line of tens of thousands of dollars where it's worth chasing you. So it begs the question of why are they doing this? They're just so desperate to sell more credit products to people, and then probably somebody in the boardroom I don't know the company that runs the JCPenney card. I think the same company that runs Kohl's and probably about 20 other. It's the old GE Capital. I think they call themselves Synergist or I don't know, Synergy. I don't know. It starts with an S. One of you guys in the comment section will know. But they run a lot of these in-house credit cards. Somebody probably there realized, hey, well, why don't we start marketing to Canadians, because most of them pay their bills. Most of them will be responsible, and the few that won't, well, it's just part of the cost of doing business. Really, really dumb idea. Dumb idea. I mean, the fact is, I can't even pay this JCPenney account online from a Canadian bank. No, you can't. I could send them an international money order to their head office in Florida, I think, which would take a while. Or I can just make the payment at the store, which is exactly what I intend to do. Once I get the first statement, I'll just, I'll be down there in the next 2-3 weeks anyway. I'll just go there with cash, pay it, end of story. But it begs the question, why? Why? And it also begs the question of, why do I have a credit score that's at least 640 when I'm not even a citizen? I even called customer service today just to verify, hey, I really have this account? They go, yes, you do. And the number they wanted me to type in, they said, and please enter your social security number. So I type in my social insurance number, boom, into the account. So the irony, the social insurance number and the social security number both have 9 digits. So I guess they're using them interchangeably now. So I guess I have a consumer credit profile now. So the $1 million question is, how do I check my US credit without a US address? Now I know there's ways of doing it for free. We all can Google, I get it. But how am I going to do that? In a few months, it would be interesting to pull up my US credit profile on, I guess you guys have Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Here in Canada, we only have Equifax and TransUnion. And they're completely separate entities. They're like McDonald's Canada, McDonald's USA. They're separately run companies. So put your comments down below on why US credit card companies are now offering credit to non-resident aliens. That's exactly what I would be, non-resident alien. Legally in the USA, but not a resident, not a citizen, a non-resident alien. Doesn't make sense. It's stupid. I know up here in Canada, that don't happen. I know in the UK, I'm pretty sure that don't happen. So you put your comments down below. Kind of makes you wonder if the whole credit market is ready to implode when they're so desperate to extend credit to foreigners. That's a bad sign to me. You tell me if you think that's a bad sign. In the meantime, folks, stay safe, keep your wheels to the ground. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.
got you, I got you.